Hi students, good evening everyone. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Educational Institutions. So as we already know about the SCORE examination, right? Sri Chaitanya Academy is providing a super opportunity to attend the national level examination, national level of the scholarship examination, which is applicable for the students from grade 3 to 12, right? As we already know, it will be conducted on September 28 and October 12. So we need to register before September 26, right? So we have already idea about that. Maybe many of you are already registered for the examination. So what exactly SCORE examination means? Let us see here. So this is a national level scholarship examination conducted by Sri Chaitanya Academy, right? So for the grade 3 to 12 it is available and it is conducted by the Sri Chaitanya Academy. Format will be online as well as offline. It will be completely depends upon you. If you want to attend the online examination, that opportunity is there. If you want to attend for the offline examination, that opportunity is also there for the offline examination centers, especially for the Sri Chaitanya centers, for the offline centers. Then our goal is to identify and reward the academic talent. Rewards like NASA trips, exciting gadgets, and around 25 crore amount of the rewards will be provided there for the part of the SCORE examination. So here we need to focus about the grade 10 SCORE chemistry previous year question papers we are going to discuss here. So as we already know what is the syllabus of the grade 10, right? So especially there will be mental ability, maths and science paper is there, including, in science it will be including physics, chemistry and biology, but here we are discussing about the chemistry. As we already know in the last class also we have already discussed what is the syllabus of the chemistry examination, right? It will be structure of atom of the grade 9 and the chemical reactions and equations, metals and non-metals and acid, base and salts from our CBSE syllabus, right? So we will be starting from our first question. You can refer the question paper from our website. Here is the first question. So I hope the picture is visible to you. This is our first question. Based on the chemical reaction, an image is given here. The reaction of an element. An element X is represented by the rectangle given here, and with an element Y which is represented by the circle here, represented in the following diagram. Which of the following equation best describe the reaction? So we just want to count the number of X and Y elements here. I hope the image is visible to you. So options are provided here. So what will be the answer for this question? Is there anyone watching the live? Just give me the answers in the comments. So what we need to do here, we just want to identify the number of these elements. X will be represented by the rectangle here and the Y will be represented by the circle here, right? So by the image you can see that there will be 3 rectangles present, which means that it will be representing that 3x element, right? So it will be 3x. Then what about this circle here? If you are counting the number of circles over here, you can see that it will be 12 circles are present, which means it is 12y. It is reacting with 3x plus 12y. What is forming here? There is one unit is forming, right? This unit is known as xy3. So total 1, 2, 3. 3xy3 is forming here along with 3 circles, right? So 3y. So is there any options provided here? As you can see over here, option D is the correct answer, right? So option D is the correct answer. 3x plus 12y gives 3xy3 plus 3y. Is there any doubt? So this is very easy question, chemical reaction. There is no need of any idea about the chemistry part here. Just we need to identify the image representation here. Then you will get the correct answer as option D here. Now we are moving to our next question. Royal water is prepared by a mixture of concentrated solution of. So what do you mean by royal water? What is the combination of royal water? Whether it is treated with the nitric acid or sulfuric acid or nitric acid or HCl, or there is a proper ratio for that. What do you mean by the royal water? Is there any other name for the royal water? So as we already know, royal water means it is aqua regia, right? So aqua regia means it has the capability to dissolve the gold itself. That's why they are known as the royal water. It will be having a combination of HCl in 3:1 molar ratio. HCl and HNO3 in 3:1 molar ratio. So option C will be the correct answer here. If you are treating 1:3 molar ratio of HNO3 and HCl together, you will be getting the royal water or the aqua regia. So this is a direct question from the second chapter, acid, base and salt. Here is our next question. An alloy which has low melting point and is used for welding electrical wires together. Question is from the third chapter, metals and non-metals. You can give me the answers in comments. Options are provided here. Which one is the alloy which is used to welding the electrical wires together, right? So as we all know, they are solder. But first we need to identify the composition, right? Composition of this alloy here. So what will be the answer? Option D is the correct answer. Solder will be an alloy of lead and tin together, right? Lead and tin together. So option D is the correct answer. Maybe you will be get confused in the option B, option A and D here. As we already know, lead and tin will be the combination of the solder, right? So this is again direct question from the metals and non-metals part. Here is the next question. When lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide, an yellow precipitate of. We have an idea about the reaction there. So whenever we are treating the potassium nitrate, lead nitrate with the potassium iodide, we will be getting a yellow precipitate. So what is the reason behind that yellow precipitate? So what is the reaction here if you are treating lead nitrate? Lead nitrate, as we already know, is PbNO3 twice, right? So this is a reaction here. So whenever you are treating lead nitrate with the potassium iodide, an yellow precipitate of lead iodide is forming here. So what will be our correct answer? Option A will be the correct answer. PbI2 is formed here as a part of this reaction. Okay, here is our next question. Read the question carefully. Electric current is passed through a concentrated aqueous solution of sodium chloride by means of a battery. After disconnecting the circuit, the solution thus obtained is divided into two equal parts by volume. In one part, phenolphthalein and another part, methyl orange indicator as added. What is the color of these indicators in these two solutions respectively? So we need to identify whether they are forming acid solution or the base solution. Then identify the color of these indicators in basic, acidic or basic solution. So what is the role of, as we already know, by the part of this reaction, they will be forming the basic solution, right? The part will be basic solution. So if you are taking the phenolphthalein, what is the color change in the case of basic solution? So in the acidic solution, the phenolphthalein will be colorless. And what about the case of basic solution? They are having the pink color, right? And what about the case of methyl orange? Methyl orange will be red color in the case of acidic solution and yellow color in the case of basic solution. So what will be our correct answer here according to basic solution? It will be forming C, right? Pink and yellow color. So option C is the correct answer here. They will be forming the pink and yellow color when we are adding phenolphthalein as well as the methyl orange indicator. Now we are moving to the next question. Which one is the best conductor of electricity? Some of the options are given here. Again, the question is from the metal and non-metal part. Which one is the best conductor of electricity? So options are given here: graphite, sulfur, phosphorus and bromine. So as we already know, option A will be the correct answer, right? Graphite is the allotrope of carbon. In general, these are the non-metals. Generally, the non-metals are non-conductors of electricity, but there is an exceptional case. In the case of graphite, they are good conductors of electricity. So option A is the correct answer here. Here is our next question. A statement type is given here. Ram took 4 metals, iron, aluminum, magnesium and zinc, rubbed it with sand, pepper and reacted them with dilute HCl. Which metal will form bubble fastest? So again, metals and non-metals, we have already discussed the reaction with the particular metals. That whenever we are treating metal with the sandpaper, whenever we are rubbed with the sandpaper and treated with the acid, they will be producing hydrogen gas, right? So that's why they are forming the bubble of the hydrogen gas here. So here, depending upon the reactivity of metals, we need to identify which one of the given metals will be forming more bubble, forming bubble fastest. Options are given here: iron, aluminum, magnesium and zinc. So the question is directly based on the reactivity series of the metals. So what are the reactivity series of metals? So this will be the reactivity series. If you are moving down, reactivity decreases, right? So more metals are there in the case of reactivity series. If you are comparing these 4 metals here, magnesium, iron, aluminum and zinc, we can say that magnesium will be the more reactive metals among these 4, right? So magnesium will be forming more bubbles faster. Clear? So option D will be the correct answer here, magnesium. Here is our next question. Read the question carefully. Thermite reaction is one of the important reactions in the metallurgical process. This reaction is best described as. Again, in the case of metals and non-metals, we have already studied about the case of thermite process, right? If you are treating any of the iron ore with the aluminum, what is happening there? Some displacement reaction happening there, right? So I hope you have idea about that. What is happening here? The Fe2O3, the iron ore will be treating with aluminum. It will be forming Al2O3 and iron. So what is happening here? The aluminum will be displaces the iron from the iron ore. So is there any option? Yes, option C will be the option B will be the correct answer, right? Aluminum is displacing iron from its ore, where iron acts as the oxidizing agent here. What is happening here? If you are comparing here in the case of iron, the oxidation state will be decreases here, right? Decreases here, which means that they are act as the oxidizing agent and aluminum is a reducing agent. Is there any doubt? This is a particular reaction for the thermite process for the welding of the railway tracks. So in order to attend for the score examination, you need to practice for the more previous year questions. If you are starting from the one lesson preparation, it will be difficult to cover all the syllabus. So start from the previous year questions, right? Maybe some of the questions will be repeating there, especially for some of the chapters like metals and non-metals, acid, bases and salts. So that is very important to revise the previous year questions. Okay, see here option B is the correct answer. Now we are moving to the next question. This is a lengthy question. So the first part of the question is, some of the following codes are given for the particular reaction. For the reaction combination, they are given P, decomposition Q, displacement R, double displacement S, and combustion T. And this is a direct question here. Consider the given processes here. We need to give the corresponding reaction names over there by using the code. So first reaction is given here, a compound break apart into its elements. So which type of reaction it is? A compound break apart into its elements, right? In the case of chemical reactions in equation, we have already seen different types of chemical reactions like combination, decomposition, displacement and so on, right? So if you are asking about the first case, as we already know, this is the decomposition reaction, right? Decomposition reaction. So what is the code given here for the decomposition reaction? The previous slide. For the decomposition, they have given Q, right? So Q will be the decomposition. So I can given for first, it will be Q. Then what about the next one? A metal and non-metal react to form an ionic compound. That's about the case of combination reaction, right? Whenever two or more elements combine together to form a single product, that type of reaction is known as a combination reaction, right? So this will be the combination reaction. What is the code for the combination reaction given here in the question? For the combination reaction, they will be given P, right? So it will be P here. Then what about the next one? A compound of hydrogen and carbon reacts with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. So these are the hydrocarbons. If you are treating any of the compound with the oxygen, that particular reaction is known as a combustion reaction, right? Combustion reaction. As a part of the combustion reaction, they will be producing carbon dioxide and water. So the next reaction will be combustion reaction. So again, we will be going to the code for the combustion reaction given here. That will be T, right? So that will be T here. And what about the last reaction? Silver ion from silver nitrate aqueous to forms precipitate with bromide ion from KBr aqueous. So if you are treating here silver nitrate plus KBr, it will be forming silver bromide, AgBr plus KNO3, right? So what is experiencing here? We will be displacing the metals, right? We are arranging the ions from here, KNO3 and AgNO3 will be forming here, which means that this reaction is known as a double displacement reaction, right? Double displacement reaction. So again, the code is provided here for the double displacement reaction. S, right? So this will be the S. So is there any options given there? First will be Q. Yes, first will be Q, second will be P, third will be T, and last one will be S, which means option B will be the correct answer here. So we need to focus on the types of chemical reaction here. It will be feeling very lengthy, but it is very easy, completely based on the types of chemical reaction. Okay. Now we are moving to our next question. Read the question carefully. The difference in number of molecules of water of crystallization in the molecular formula of washing soda and blue vitriol. First, we need to identify what is the chemical formula of the washing soda and what is the chemical formula of the blue vitriol. Then we need to take the difference between the water of crystallization there. So what is the chemical formula of washing soda? It will be Na2CO3.10H2O, right? Washing soda, this is a very important compounds from the chapter acid, base and salt. Na2CO3.10H2O. The number of water molecules present over here as a crystal part is known as the water of crystallization. So what is the number of water of crystallization here? It will be 10 in the case of washing soda. Then what about the case of blue vitriol? It is copper sulfate dot 5H2O, right? So this is again 5H2O, water of crystallization is 5 here. Our question, we need to identify the difference between the water of crystallization of these two molecules, I mean washing soda and the blue vitriol. So if you are taking the difference here, 10 minus 5, that is equal to 5 here. So option A will be the correct answer. Now we are moving to our next question. Read the question carefully, consider the given reaction and select the correct options provided here. A particular chemical reaction is studied here or given here. Based on the chemical reaction, we need to identify which one is getting oxidized and which one is get reduced here. Again, this is a part of chemical reactions and equations. We have already know what you mean by the oxidation state, how we can predict the oxidation or reduction in terms of the oxidation number of the state, right? So if you are getting any of the reaction, first thing we need to do, find out the oxidation state of all the elements or all the metals given, all the elements given here, right? So if I am asking about the oxidation state of MnO2, in the case of oxygen, it will be having generally -2 charge, right? -2 is the oxidation state here. So as according to here, it will be +4. Manganese will be +4 here in the case of MnO2. Then what about the case of HCl? HCl means this is +1, Cl will be -1. In general, halogens will be having the -1 oxidation state. Then what about the case of MnCl2? Chlorine will be having -1 here, right? So this will be -1, total -2. So here it is +2 and -1. Then what about the case of water? Again +1 and -2. Okay, +1 and -2. Then in the case of chlorine, this is a diatomic molecule. If any of the element which is present in the molecular form, they will be having the oxidation state of 0 here, right? Oxidation state of 0 here. Now we need to explain oxidation reduction in terms of the oxidation number or the state. So what is happening here? If I am asking about the case of MnO2 to MnCl2, right? What is happening here? The oxidation state of manganese will be decreases from +4 to +2, which means that reduction is happening here. So what is the answer provided here? MnO2 is reduced to MnCl2. I hope you understand. Then what about the case of next one? If I am asking about the case of HCl, in the case of chlorine, it will be changes its oxidation number from -1 to 0, right? -1 to 0 means it will be oxidizing, right? This is the oxidation process, which means that hydrochloric acid is oxidizes to chlorine. So HCl is oxidized to chlorine, which means that option C and D will be the correct answer here. So in the case of score examination paper, total 15 questions will be available for the chemistry part. Out of 15 questions, 5 will be multiple choice. You can expect more than one answers for that. So one of the question is here, C and T are the options given here, correct answers given here. Now we are moving to our next question. This is again multiple choice answer. You will be getting more than one answers here. Which of the following cannot act as an electrolyte? So just let me know what is the answers in comments. You can expect more than one answers for this question. Which one is not act as an electrolyte? So what is the role of electrolyte? So electrolytes are easily forming the ions, right? They will be forming positive ions or negative ions. But if you are comparing here, NaCl will be easily forming the Na plus and Cl minus ions. So this is act as an electrolyte here, right? This is a strong electrolyte. Then what about the case of urea, glucose and sucrose? These are the covalent compounds. They are not formed as in free ions. So these are not electrolytes. These are non-electrolytes. So what will be our correct answer? Correct answers will be B, C and D. So here is our next question. Choose the incorrect statements. Again, the question is from the acid, bases and salts part. 4 options are provided here. We just want to identify the incorrect statements given here. So what is the difference between bases and alkali? So as we already know, alkalis are some type of bases which is soluble in water to produce OH minus ion. So while comparing the bases and alkali, all bases are not alkalis, but all alkalis are bases, right? So correct answers will be option A here. Then what about the second option? The process of dissolving an acid or base is highly exothermic. As we already know, this is a neutralization reaction. They will be still releasing the heat. So this is the exothermic reaction, right? Then we are asking about the pH of the blood. As we already know, it will be more than 5. So it will be which one will be the incorrect statement given here? So option A and C are the correct answers here. And this reaction is already we have studied in the chapter. Hydrogen gas is obtained at the cathode in the electrolysis of the brine solution. Brine solution means NaCl water. If you are doing the electrolysis of the NaCl, the first one, the hydrogen gas will be produced at the cathode, right? So it will be changing upon the pH. Here is our next question. Read the question carefully. Choose the correct set of reactions. Again, there will be more than one answers will be possible. So while discussing almost all the questions, you can say that this type of, in the case of chemical reactions, the type of chemical reactions, you can expect more questions. It's completely repeated many times. So what about the case of first reaction? If I am treating with the oxygen, I am treating magnesium with the oxygen to form the magnesium oxide. So this is again the addition of oxygen is known as the oxidation reaction, right? According to the classical concept of the oxidation and reduction. Then what about the case of second one? CaO plus H2 gives CaOH twice. Calcium oxide will be treating with water to form the calcium oxide or the silicate lime. As we all know, these are again heat releasing process. So this is the exothermic reaction. So this is again true statement. Then what about the case of next one? 2Ag gives 2Ag plus Cl2. While discussing about the types of chemical reaction, we have already seen the decomposition reaction, right? Decomposition reaction means a single product will be break into 2 or more than reactants, right? So here AgCl will be break into form 2 moles of Ag and Cl2. This is the opposite of the combination reaction. So this is again true. Then what about the case of next one? Copper oxide is adding hydrogen to form copper and hydrogen oxide. Copper and water, right? Copper and water. So what is happening here? Again, according to the classical concept, addition of hydrogen is known as the reduction process. Either addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. So what will be our correct answers? All the given options are correct sets, which means A, B, C and D are the correct answers here. Clear? Now we are moving to our last question. Identify the salts which pH less than 7 at 25 degrees Celsius. So this is a very important question in the case of acid, base and salt. This is an application level of question. First we need to identify whether it is basic, acidic or neutral depending upon the pH value. Then here it is given these are the salts. From the salt we need to identify the parent acid and parent base. From the parent acid and parent base we can predict their behavior whether it is acidic, basic or neutral. So what is the question asked here? pH less than 7. So what do you mean by the pH less than 7? Whether it is acidic, basic or neutral at normal temperature. Normal temperature means room temperature 25 degrees Celsius. So as we already know, depending upon the pH scale is there, right? If the pH is less than 7, that will be acidic in nature. If the pH is equal to 7, that will be neutral. Then if pH is greater than 7, that will be basic in nature, right? So here in our question they are asking about the example for the acidic oxide. Acidic oxide. How we can predict the nature of any of the oxide? I mean acidic salt, right? By using the salt we can identify the parent acid or base. So first case, if you are taking the first one, NaCl, right? Okay, I will write down here. In the case of NaCl, there is a simple trick to find out the parent acid and base. What we need to do, we need to identify, we need to break the cations and anions apart. Then we need to add OH minus ion to the cation part and H plus ion to the anion part over there. So what is happening here? We will be adding water, so it will be forming H plus and OH minus. Just crisscross, right? So it will be forming NaOH and HCl. I hope you are getting the idea. This is the method to find out the parent acid and parent base for the different salts here. So in the case of NaCl, if you are breaking them as the Na plus and Cl minus ion, the Na plus ion will be treated with the H plus OH minus in the case of water, and Cl minus will be goes with the H plus ion in the water. So they will be forming NaOH and HCl. That's why, what is the nature of NaOH? Whether it is a strong base or the weak base. So both NaOH and HCl are the strong base and strong acid, right? So if they are formed by the strong acid and strong base, the particular salt will be neutral in nature. So these are neutral salt. Then what about the case of CuSO4? If I am asking about the parent acid and parent base of the CuSO4, what will be the parent acid? Break it into cations and anions, then add H plus and OH minus ion, right? So here it will be CuOH twice plus H2SO4, right? So copper hydroxide is weak base and this is strong acid, so it will be an example of the acidic salt, right? This is a strong acid. So this will be an example of acidic salt. Then what about the case of KNO3? KNO3, as we already know, break it into KOH and HNO3. HNO3 is a strong acid, KOH is a strong base. So this is again forming the neutral salt, right? What about the case of last one? AlCl3 means AlOH twice plus HCl. HCl is a strong acid. And aluminum hydroxide is the weak base. So depending upon the strength of the acid, they will be forming the acidic oxide. So what will be our correct answer? Option B and D are the example for the acidic salts. Is there any doubt? This is completely based on the acid, base and salts chapter. So this was the last question from the paper discussion for the score examination. We have already mentioned, right? 4 important chapters are very important there. So which are the chapters? First one is the structure of atom from the grade 9. You can expect more questions from the Bohr atom model, Dalton's atomic theory and so on in the case of structure of atom. Then about the case of chemical reactions and equation, you can expect more questions from the redox reaction part, as well as the balancing of chemical reaction and the types of chemical reaction. Then next chapter is about the acid, base and salt. Depending upon the pH value, we will be identifying the acidic salt, basic salt or the neutral salt. That is also very important. And we move to the last chapter, that is metals, non-metals and the metals and the non-metals. That is again very important. You can expect more reactions from the metals and non-metals, and exceptional part is also very important there. So I'm just giving an idea about examination again, score examination, as we already know. It will be conducting on September 28. First phase will be conducting on the September 28. The second phase will be conducting on the October 12. So link will be provided in the description, srijatanyascore.com. This is the link to register for the examination. Before September 26, you need to register for the examination. I am repeating again for the science chapter, especially for the grade 10 students. These 4 chapters are very important in the case of grade 10. And you can expect more questions, especially 20 questions will be from the mental ability test. And again 15 will be from the Total 45 questions. I mean 15 physics, 15 chemistry and 15 biology for the science chapter. And again 15 questions for the maths question. And then in the case of chemistry chapter, we will be expecting more questions from these 4 important chapters. And again repeating in the question paper pattern, out of 15 questions, 5 questions will be, 5 questions will be, you can expect more than 1 answers for the question paper. I hope you understand about the exam pattern. If you have any doubt in any part of the questions or any part of the grade 10 syllabus, you can ask. So exam is already here. You need to revise from the basics itself. From the basics itself. The first method you to revise the topics again and again and you need to revise the questions using the previous year questions. You can get more questions from the previous year in our website. It will be provided. So very important topic. Very important repeated questions will be asking from the previous year questions. So you can expect that type of questions there. So before going for the complete revising, you can start from the, you can take some mock test or you can start from the previous year questions, not to score maximum in the score examination. So I hope you guys enjoyed the session. If you really like the session, hit the like button and subscribe our channel. For more updates, follow our channel, Sri Chaitanya Educational Institution. So thank you so much all of you.